couple of summers ago now, Jack Fang was relocating from the Ottawa region to Vancouver Island. And he stopped here in Winnipeg on his way there. He stayed in a hotel nearby, and we spent a couple of days together. Day and a half, actually. Made some couple of videos. And I did a video with him for this particular rolled steel bow that has no maker marks, that is from the 1950s. It's got a couple of markings to describe the weight and a couple other things, but I don't know who made it. Don't have a clue. It belonged to clubmates that I never met for Robin Hood Pole Archery, and this is what they shot. It's a 6-foot takedown longbow. And in that video that Jack and I made, I talked about how at one point that the English commandos, or British commandos, pardon me, in 1940 had been issued takedown steel longbows, rolled steel longbows, because, convenient to pack and that sort of thing. They were never used. Well, they're not practical. There's a reason why the commandos, for, silent killing, they came up with, silencers for Sten guns, and they also came up with a folding crossbow system that they used, because it's a lot more convenient to shoot something like that from cover than it is to stand up with a 6-foot longbow. Now, somebody made a crack about, commandos aren't going to use a shiny bow. Well, here's the thing. I was given, not to own, but to take care of, a piece of treasure that used to belong to a Robin Hood Club member who has since passed. Now, I'm the caretaker of it. I am not the owner of this bow. Yet this is something for me to take care of for the Robin Hood Pole. Now this, by the way, is an English-made rolled steel longbow with maker marks. And I was even able to, I'm not going to push it together, it's 6 feet. I was even able to find out, and I even found an advert. It was for an American distributor, but I found an advert for it. This is the Apollo Condor. Now this one's manufactured probably around 1950, 1952. That's the same as the other one. But the company that manufactures, Accles Pollock, from Old Surrey, Birmingham, England. So I have an advert that I printed off. And this is an American one that I'm still not sure. I printed it off from archeryhistory.com. It didn't print very well, so it's really kind of tough to read, to get. But it talks about how these bows for professionals, for competitive shooters. These bows were used for competitive shooters. Now, they list here the Swallow, the Merlin, the Kestrel, and the Falcon as models. They don't list the Condor. They do list prices. The first one there, the Swallow, that was $25 US back in, I'm assuming the 1950s based on the ad. I'll say 1950s because I don't actually know. But $25 US, and then $37.50 for the other three, the Kestrel and all that sort of thing. I'm going to assume this bow would be in that $37.50 range. And while that sounds cheap, and today that would be like sweet, but it's not. Back in the 1950s, $37 was a lot of money, especially in US. 37 US dollars, yeah, that was a lot of money. So this bow, this particular bow, you know what? I'm gonna bring it over there to give you a close look, because it's kind of interesting. It has a shelf on either side. There is actually a stamping on the draw weight. We have logos to look at, and then the string nocks, very interesting. I'm going to try and keep this in focus. You see how narrow that and how small that string knock is? You can't use, what we usually use as a regular string. I had to get I did get a string made up for it. And I have strung it, and I really don't want to string it because I want to preserve it. And I may string it again, and I may actually take it and loose a couple arrows at the fork just for the sake of memories. I'm kind of worried because I don't want to break it because it is old. But you see how it keeps going in and out of focus. it's very difficult to string. As you can see, so there's the logo. Okay, so there's the logo, the Apollo, and you can barely read the Condor on this side. There is the shelves, so you can shoot right-handed, left-handed. It is stamped. I don't know if it can show up. I don't know if it will show up, but it's stamped right here. It is 60 pounds at 30-inch draw, so give or take 55 probably at 28, which is standard. It is angled, and that's how it fits together. The other side is, it's got a big cork handle. Try to get that focused. Big cork handle, and of course the logo again, and then painted in green. And then of course at this end we have, let's see, there we go. Oh, there we go. That actually looks a lot better. Staying in focus. String knock, very small string knock. It's weird. It's such a narrow limb too, eh? Like, I mean, look how narrow the limb is at this point. Kind of interesting. These bows had a very, very short, very brief, most likely never ever used in anger, military service for the British Commandos. Un poquito time, tiny time. But this particular bow belonged to a gentleman who I had never had the joy of meeting, Bob Mosel, who has since passed. His brother entrusted this to the club, and then I was made the caretaker of it. But John Mosel is, to this day, he's 94 and he's still shooting. And when he entrusted this to my care, I said, well, I won't shoot it. And he was like, why not? I'm like, well, I don't want to break it. And it's just, but it's meant to be shot. So I may take it to the fork and I may string it. I do have a string. I got a Dacron string made for it. The string that it came with was, yeah, not safe. And I'm surprised that the brace height these bows back in the 40s and 50s, they had a reputation for folding over, and I've heard stories from clubmates telling stories about watching these bows fold, or these types of bows, like rolled steel bows. So this one, and this one, by the way, is the more common bow amongst the pole archers, amongst the old pole archery bows that we have in, so for example, like I'm, as I'm a caretaker of this one as well, and then I'm a caretaker of this one. And these were all purchased in the 1950s, early 1950s. We say 1952 just because that seems to be John's memory, and to be fair, John was the one that was there, we were not. So we will go with what he says. Share this. Other than the fact that it's cool and it ties in with the stories, is Jack was talking about how modern traditional bows evolved, changed. For example, shelves. Like this does have shelves, very small, but it has them. And wood bows, and in this case, rolled steel bows, which were very common and used in a lot of competitions in the 1930s, 40s, and into the 50s. Then they faded out, and they were replaced by, fiberglass, laminated bows. There was wood bows, of course. Wood bows never went away. This same ad, actually, at the bottom of this same ad, mentions Yew and Assange orange bows, available for special order. Prices vary from $40 US to $60 US. Only choice materials. It even says has glass backing. So, a wood bow with glass backing. And that, I don't know whether they have shelves or they're just, like these, with a very, very small shelf. But those were those things. And he did that video, a short video anyways, talking about that. And I wanted to point out that rolled steel was used for, give or take, 2 decades, even for competition bows. And this one, manufactured by Accles Pollock, in Old Surrey, Birmingham, England. That company exists to this day, but they don't make rolled bows. They don't make rolled steel bows, but they still do rolled steel and other steel products. I kind of thought that was kind of cool and fun. So keep having fun, guys.